What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Welcome back to a brand new video. We are here. We are back. And listen, man, we're going to be recapping Summer League for you guys today. The Miami Heat Summer League is unfortunately over. No back-to-back championships for the Heat Summer League squad. It was a good run last year. This year was a little bit different. A little bit up and down this year. I think we broke even, if I'm not mistaken. I think we were 3-3 in the actual Summer League, not the California Classic. But yeah, we had some good moments. We had some pretty terrible moments, but we're gonna recap all of it. We're gonna talk about some Heat news, like some of the topical stuff going on around some of our players, and then just the direction of this team going forward as Summer League is now wrapped up and we're getting closer and closer to training camp and the start of the season. So super excited for that. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts, comments, concerns, questions, all of that stuff. Let's get right into it. So Summer League, like I said, has wrapped up for the Heat. And I'm not gonna lie, like this Summer League, I was watching mainly for the second year players and our rookies, like Kel'el Ware, Pelle Larsson, Keyshawn Johnson, Kasparas Giacochonis, Vlad Golden. Like I was watching for these 5 players mainly, but I was also tuned in to everybody else as well, like because I watched every game. Like I was tuned in to a lot of the lesser known guys, like and some of the guys I want to give shout outs to right off the bat, like Eric Stevenson. I thought did an amazing job. I thought Javante Cook did an amazing job. I thought Myron Gardner did an amazing job. Like these 3 in particular stood out to me as far as the players who were just lesser known and not like the like there were the undrafted guys. Like there were the guys who were not rookies this year. Like I guess Vlad Golden was undrafted as well, but we also signed him to a 2-way immediately, so I don't really count him in that tier. But they're not like the mainstays on the Summer League roster, that household names that people know about. And I do want to give them shout outs because they definitely opened a lot of eyes, I hope. Even like I wasn't super familiar with a lot of their games, and I watch a ton of college basketball. So that's how like these guys are like super unknown. Like they're not like your typical like household names that people will know about, even if you guys watch a lot of college basketball. So I do want to give them a lot of like props and credit because they had their opportunity, they took it, and they made the most out of it. So shout out to these 3 in particular. I thought everybody else filled in, like Dane Danger, Umar Ballo, like these guys played good minutes as well. Steve Settle, I saw a few flashes from him as well. So listen, I mean, I saw stuff from the lesser known guys, but I do want to take some time to talk about like the mainstays on this team. I'm not going to talk about Vlad Golden too much. I thought he did a really good job, but I think Vlad Golden probably won't get a lot of run this year anyway. So this is more for me to talk about the guys who I think might be featured in the rotation. But Vlad Golden, I just really quickly will touch on. Vlad is really, really good. He's really skilled. I think he's a guy that will be like a traditional big for you. Now, he is a little bit slow, and that is something that he'll have to work on, his mobility and all that. But I thought he had a couple of really good performances. I thought he was solid in basically every single game, and I cannot wait to see him develop in our program. I don't think he's going to get a lot of minutes this season, but maybe I might be proven wrong because we are thin at the backup center position. So maybe we see him get some run, but I just doubt it. But I do want to shout out Vlad Golden because I think he was a great pickup. As far as a 2-way guy is concerned, I think he was definitely at the top of everyone's list when you look at the undrafted players that were available after the draft concluded a few weeks ago. So shout out to Vlad. And yeah, we'll get into the other 4 players. Before we like specifically dive into a certain player, I do want to talk about the discourse on. I guess we can just talk about Kasparas Giacochonis because I feel like there's been a lot of discourse about Kasparas, good or bad. Like there's been discourse from both sides. And I just do want to talk about, a lot of this. I feel like it's really important to address a lot of this information that has been said, whether it's been good, bad. Obviously, Summer League started with the Miami Heat playing the California Classic games. And we always play the California Classic games every season. And this year, it didn't go so great for us. It didn't go so great for Kasparas. He really struggled. He had a really bad few shooting games. Like he was shooting the ball terribly in a lot of these games, and for that reason, a lot of people were like, "Oh, we drafted a bust, and this guy sucks," and all this stuff. And people were just making like insane conclusions and just jumping the gun, just jumping to conclusions, saying, "Oh, we drafted the next bust," and all that stuff. the reason I never panicked, and a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you make a video? Why haven't you addressed these few games in the California Classic? The reason I did not make a video on these games was because, listen, first of all, I feel like it's a rule of thumb to not judge any rookie after a couple of summer league games. Like, it's not even the NBA season, it's summer league. The same way that I did not make videos when he was playing extremely well, and react like, oh my god, we drafted the next superstar. The same way, I'm not gonna do the same when he plays badly and I will have to go, oh, we drafted the next bust. Like, that's not gonna happen. As somebody who's been through this rodeo with rookies, and as somebody who's watched a lot of this summer league action year after year after year, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate too, it's just not smart for any fan to just write off a player or proclaim the player to be the next superstar after summer league. Whether it's 2 games, 1 game, 3 games, like, or the entirety of the tournament. Like, we've seen players who performed absolutely brilliantly in summer league and just really, really like let their team down in actual, regular season or playoff games. And we've seen the opposite. We've seen people who struggled during summer league, and we saw them put it together when the season started. So, listen, if the entirety of the summer league was a sample size that a lot of people should not be like looking too hard at, why would I let 3 games of the California Classic dictate that for me? Especially because for me it's different, because I have probably watched Kasparas Jakučionis more than any other Heat fan that I know. So I know what Kasparas can do. I've watched this guy in person. This guy was the player that I was tuned into. Him and Will Riley, obviously, because they were at Illinois, and that was my school because I went there. These 2 players were the players that I was in tune with the most. So I know their strengths and weaknesses like the back of my hand because I've watched them for so long now. So I wasn't going to let 2 games of the California Classic deter my judgment on a player, especially a player that I've been watching for so long now. So that's why I was never like on board with the whole idea of people calling him a bust, because it's just lazy. It's lazy as a fan to just judge a player. And I know as Heat fans, we've been going through a lot because our front office sucks. But the one thing I will say is that even though our front office is bad, we can all agree that their best component of this front office is the drafting and developing and scouting. I feel like if there's one part of the front office where we can cut them some slack and give them some leeway and some room to operate before we actually just throw accusations and judge them, is the scouting department. Is Adam Simon, the whole scouting department, the people who develop these players. Like, these are the guys that if there are any like good people in our front office that we can trust like fully, it's them. Because they have been the people that have not failed us every single year. We always develop somebody, we always get somebody. It's always been like the Heat always just get somebody in the draft or through free agency or like an undrafted free agent or someone like that. Like, they just always find players that produce for them. So not only is it bad practice as a fan to write off somebody after summer league, but a player who was drafted by the Miami Heat, an organization who I think is one of the best at drafting and developing talent. I mean, why would I even care, if a player struggles in the first 2 games of the California Classic? It makes no sense to me. But I'm glad he was able to showcase what he can do in the actual Vegas Summer League. He put on an absolute show in some of these games. He averaged 15 points per game throughout the whole course of the summer league, and I thought he was just really a lot more comfortable. I thought, I also didn't like how he was being used in the California Classic games. I just thought he didn't have the ball in his hands as much as he needs to. Kasparas Jakučionis is a playmaker. He's a guy with the ball in his hands, he can make stuff happen. So he was being put a lot more off the ball. Like, his first few shots in the California Classic games were all spot up corner threes, and I'm like, that's just not his game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that they were able to figure out how to use him. So shout out to Kasparas for that, man. I hope the kid has a bright future with this team. Hopefully he plays. If not, that's fine. Let him develop at Sioux Falls. But I think he's going to be a great player for us one day. Let's move on to Keshad Johnson. Listen, Keshad Johnson, the one thing you cannot discount with Keyshawn Johnson is the energy. He's going to provide the energy. He's going to provide the highlights. He's very athletic. He's a good defender. The one swing skill for Keyshawn Johnson, to me, has always been his jump shot. If he can shoot the ball well from three, then you are looking at a completely different player. Because when the shot is falling with Keyshawn Johnson, he can actually be a very serviceable role player for you and not just a guy who's just going to provide just only energy. I think, unfortunately, like, his shot was a little bit on and off. But if the shot is falling with Keyshawn Johnson, I really, really think that he can be a good player for this team. Against Boston, he shot pretty solid from three-point land. Against Cleveland, he shot 0 for 5. Against Atlanta, he didn't shoot the ball well, but against Golden State, he did. So it's just like, the thing with Keyshawn is it's just the inconsistency with his shot that he has to just work on. If he's able to shoot the ball well, he's really athletic. He can get to the line. He's a good rebounder. He's a smart player. He's a menace on the defensive end. He will do everything else, for you. But it's just the shot. I think if the shot is going to be cleaned up, I think he will be a serviceable piece for this team. I actually want to see him get some run this year. I just want to see how he does in an actual NBA game. But yeah, I like Keyshawn. I just think he has to shoot the ball better, and if he's able to shoot the ball better from three, you have a really, really good, role player on your hands, especially a guy who's undrafted. That's a steal for you. So, shout out to Keyshawn. Let's talk about Pelle Larsson, because to me, I thought he was the best player for the Miami Heat in the summer league. Like, respectfully, I just thought Pelle Larsson was I just thought he was on another level, bro. Like, he really impressed me, and he should be like a lock to be in the rotation. I feel like Pelle, especially that Duncan Robinson is now gone, like, there's no reason why he shouldn't be getting minutes this season. He played in the playoffs as well against the Cavs, so I have no doubt in my mind that Spoelstra will use him. But I just like how he's been playing. Like, he's been really, really aggressive. I feel like a lot of people will just look at him and just think he's a shooter, but bro, Pelle Larsson is really, really, really good at getting to the free throw line. Like, he has been getting to the free throw line so well in the summer league. He's been putting his head down and getting to the basket. He's really actually deceptively strong for his size. Defensively, he will compete. He's a really gritty defensive player. He will dive for loose balls. He will do a lot of the little hustle stuff. He will shoot the ball well. I mean, he is just the ultimate role player that any championship team would want. And with him and with Davion Mitchell, I think we have two guys that are absolute dogs that I think no matter what, you will not be able to question their impact on the game. I think you will feel their presence no matter what. So I was super, super thoroughly impressed with Pelle Larsson, man. I think this guy's going to be a great player for the Miami Heat. I really, really think so. Does he have the ceiling of a lot of these all-star, all-NBA guards? Probably not. But man, does he have a high floor. And I think he can definitely help this team in multiple ways. Whether we're a contender, whether we're not, I think no matter what, you will see Pelle Larsson making an impact. So shout out to Pelle, man. I'm super impressed with him. Yeah, this guy, he was just on another level, and I think he showed that. And so shout out to Pelle. And then last but not least, Kel'el Ware. Listen, Kel'el Ware, it's interesting with Kel'el because, before the last two games, he was probably one of the most disappointing players on the team. Now, Kel'el is a guy that I've watched Kel'el for a long time. He was one of the best players in his high school class. Went to Oregon. At Oregon, the biggest issue with him was motor, hard work, all that stuff. Got into it with this coach. Transferred, didn't get playing time, went to Indiana. Mike Woodson was able to, who I don't even think is a great coach anyway, but he was able to bring something out of Kel'el, and Kel'el was able to put on a show at Indiana, and he was able to get minutes. He was able to showcase what he could do. Drafted by Miami. When he was drafted by Miami, the biggest question for him was his motor. People were like, oh, is his motor going to be good? Is he going to be playing hard? Is he going to be able to get back on defense? Is he going to be trying to dominate people on offense? Is he going to be able to use his skill set to his advantage? Is he just going to be a passenger out there? And the thing is with Kel'el Ware is that when he was drafted by the Heat, myself and a lot of people who were questioning his motor were like, listen, I think the Heat, if there's any team that can work on somebody's motor, it's the Heat, because you talk about Heat culture, you talk about all this the stereotypes when it comes to the Miami Heat, the hardest working, most conditioned team, whatever. that's what people associate with the Heat. So I'm like, oh, Kel'el Ware's biggest struggle is the fact that he just doesn't work hard enough on the floor. Well, the Miami Heat can coach him up to do that. And he had his ups and downs with his rookie year, but you could see, like, even though that he was playing well, that the motor was still like not where you wanted it to be. He was still like getting lost out there. He was like getting back on defense really slowly. He wasn't running as hard on offense, and you saw that in the summer league for the first few games. And I was really disappointed in him because Kel'el Ware, to me, was probably like top 5, one of the most talented players on the summer league floor this year. Like, I thought out of anybody in the NBA who played in the summer league tournament this year, if you're looking at talent and if you're looking at skill set for his position, there is nobody that can do what Kel'el Ware can do. And he was not getting dominated, but maybe he was getting, I will say, like, on the glass he was definitely getting dominated, but he was definitely, like, he was just not playing as well as I thought he should be. And I was really disappointed in him for that because these guys that he's playing against are not nearly as talented as Kel'el Ware. Like, he can dominate them, bro. He can absolutely just, like, dude, he can put up 20 and 10 on their heads every single game if he wants to. But he was just not doing that, bro. So that's why for me it was like, Kel'el, these guys, this team that you're playing against has a center that is all energy and hustle, and that's why you're getting dominated, because you have the talent, but he has the hard work. And then Spoelstra gave the talk that he gave when he was asked about Kel'el. He was like, he needs to be more professional, he needs to be more hardworking, all that stuff. And people, like, I thought a lot of people, like, made it a little bit overblown, because I felt like people were like, oh my god, Kel'el, trade him at the end of the world. But it was just Spoelstra motivating him. And you saw Kel'el take it as motivation, because the last two games that he played, the one against the Cavs, the one against the Celtics, he was a man amongst boys. And I cannot say enough good things about those games from him. He was really good in those games, man. He shot the 3-ball well. He was rebounding the ball well. He was blocking shots. He was scoring the ball. Like, he was everywhere. He was the best player on the floor in a lot of these in the last two games. So, he definitely took what Spo said as, like, something that he took to heart, and he definitely used it as motivation. And he was asked about it, and I thought he had the right mindset. He was like, you know what, like, yeah, I got to dominate. And then someone, I think, might have been Ira, was like, so why don't you do this every game? And he was like, oh, I will. So, I mean, if he's going to do this every game, then Kel'el, we've unlocked a monster, bro. But we need him to do this on a consistent basis, because he's capable of doing this. That's why it's frustrating, because we know Kel'el is like that, bro. We know he's an absolute stud. But sometimes he just doesn't show it because he doesn't want to, or he just doesn't want to, play as hard as what he's capable of playing, and showing his skill set. So shout out to Kel'el, and shout out to everybody in the Summer League squad. I thought, a lot of people showed their, flashes and stuff like that, but just wanted to highlight these players. Before we end, just a couple of Heat rumors. The whole Terry Rozier thing, I'm not going to touch on too much. I don't really know what's going on. I mean, I know what's going on because I've read the reports and all that, but again, I don't really have the information to speak or make, like, a proper opinion on this, because it's a lot of, like, it's still up in the air. Like, the investigation's still going on with, like, the whole, like, betting thing, and I don't know. Like, I hope that everything gets sorted out, for the better of him and the team. So, yeah, whatever happens, we'll live with it. We'll figure it out. But that's still an ongoing situation. So I just don't really know what to say about that, because, again, I don't know. Like, if you ask me, I think it might be true because of the way he was playing last year. But I don't know. Like, again, I have no information about that, apart from what's been put out there by a lot of different people. So, yeah, I think, the Terry thing we'll talk about after it's been resolved. But apart from that, we have to talk about the last roster spot and who it's going to fill, who's going to fill it, because we still have a roster spot left. A lot of people thought it was going to be Damian Lillard. A lot of people thought it was going to be Bradley Beal. Unfortunately, it was neither. I mean, after we traded for Norman Powell, it was pretty difficult for people to assume that we were going to probably get a Brad Beal, because they play the same position and all that stuff. So Clippers ended up getting him, and then Dame went back to Portland, which I don't know why Heat fans are mad at him for that, bro. He went back to Portland, bro. Who cares? Like, that's literally where he spent the whole career that he ended up building, like his brand, his name, all that. And he's gonna rehab with them. He's not even gonna play. So, I don't know why people were upset with him for going back to Portland, but I don't know why. We're just salty that we couldn't get him in the first place. But that's not even his fault. That's the front office's fault. So yeah. Dame back to Portland. So there's not really much out there for the Miami Heat to do to like still like strengthen their roster. Like a lot of the free agents, big free agents are gone. I feel like Kuminga is still out there, but I don't think anybody wants to pay him that money, and I don't think we should either. But we do still have one roster spot. I would like to see the Heat do something where they go like in the direction of like a big or someone who can, you know, provide insurance on that. As far as their size is concerned, as far as, you know, when Bam or Khalil are off the floor, you can have some guy, you know, out there who can just fill in and just he can make sure that you know you're able to not lose too much when both Bam and Khalil are off the floor, or one of them is off the floor. So especially Kevin Love is gone now, and Thomas Bryant we traded away last year. We just never really had a backup center, and I mean maybe they trust Vlad Golden to do that, but if not, I would still like some insurance with the size. You know, I feel like point guard position we're pretty decent on. We have Kasparis, we have Davion. You know, maybe if you want to get a third point guard, that's fine. I think we have an abundance of like wings. I feel like Wiggins, Highsmith, Jaquez, Jovic, Keshad, Pelle Larson, like these guys will all be like a lot more wings than we actually probably will be using anyway. So we have wings. I think we have guards. We have Hero. I think Pelle can also classify as a guard as well. And then obviously we have, you know, we have the bigs. We got Bam and Khalil, but I just think if we use one more big, maybe that could work. Or maybe they just promote somebody from their summer league squad and give him a two-way and have him be the last roster spot. I don't know. But in essence, they do have a roster spot that they can choose to fill if they want to. And I think, you know, whoever they want to fill it with, it's up to them. But I would like it to be someone that will provide some size. But we'll see. Apart from that, I don't really have much for you guys today in this video. Again, you know, Summer League has ended, so there's not really a lot that we can really talk about as far as Heat basketball is concerned for the next few weeks, apart from maybe looking forward to training camp and some more rumors. And we'll see what the Heat do with that last roster spot. Hopefully they fill it with somebody. If not, it's fine. But let me know your thoughts on Summer League, man. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts, comments, concerns on every single player I talked about, and what you think about the last roster spot and what the Heat should do with it. I'll see you later as always. Peace.